All right, so looking at the shoulder crunch now, the submission. This is the shoulder submission. All right, so we've managed to sit up. All right, we got to the point where, especially where we're stretching our opponent out a little bit. Hopefully we've stepped on their legs. You can do it with butterfly hooks as well. Just remember, with the butterfly hooks, he can drive back into me again pretty well. All right, he might be able to put me on my back. With the feet here, especially with my butt scooted back, it's a bit harder. Okay, just keep your head a bit closer. So let's just assume first off that we entered with our hands here. We want to change to just isolating the shoulder now. So now I've got him sat up. I make sure he's out this side. Again, I don't want him on my left side, so he has to be on the opposite side to the arm. Like his body's weight's on the opposite side to the arm that's caught. All right. So I'm going to change to just isolating this grip now. All right. First thing, I don't think it's a good idea. Like, again, the biggest risk is you go for this and then it's like he starts to slip. Right. We want to start. Like the shoulder crunch, I think, is the best first move to go for, the shoulder submission, because it gives you the most follow-up options. Even if it's not the highest percentage finish, the follow-up options are all there, right? If you go for the cutting armbar and you miss, you don't have much to follow up with, okay? So don't go for the elbow. When I say cutting armbar, that's an elbow submission. We're going for the shoulder, okay? So I'm going to change from the head grip to just the shoulder grip. If you keep your hands locked and try and do this, there'll be a point right now, see there's a big gap. So if he's pulling away and I go to lock in, I'll probably lose it, right? And I say this, probably sometimes I break that rule, but generally it's gonna be better and it's gonna be tighter if my left arm stays really tight. This is the main control, right? My right hand comes out, unlocks, and comes back in like this, okay? So my right arm goes from connected to circling under and comes in very tight to the line of the shoulder here, like so. So from here, I'm pulling in tight. Instead of going like this, giving a decent sized gap, I want to keep my left arm tight, right arm comes in and locks in nice and tight on the shoulder. Okay. Again, I got short arms and I still don't like going hand to hand because I feel like it's loose. So you know, we're here. If you've got longer arms, you might even almost touch your elbows. I like kind of this false grip type position here. So pressure ideally is on the shoulder joint, not the, so when people think shoulder joint, sometimes being a physio's got an advantage. Okay, actually I'll do it on this arm. So I think when people think shoulder, they look at this ball here, this is your deltoid, and they think that's where the shoulder joint is, the middle of the joint here, which would, you know, technically, if we pointed a line through here, that would meet the joint. But when the arm's up like this, you're actually pushing on the deltoid. The ball of the bone is here, the ball and socket joint, right? So the ball sits here. We want to get the joint where the ball meets the socket, which is back here, okay? But that's where, like, we want to have maximum pressure right on the joint line, not here, okay? So pretty much, like if you run, there's that blade of the scapula, you feel that bone, if you follow that until it doesn't exist anymore, which is about here, you've actually gone past the shoulder joint. So my scap, this is called the acromion here, it hangs over past the line of the joint. So if we look at that from the back, I actually want to capture the shoulder joint about here, not down here, right? So probably deeper than you think is a better option for when we're attacking. So I want to go not here, but capturing around here, right, when I apply a shoulder crunch, and that should put good pressure on the shoulder. Okay, nice little click. All right, so we're doing it on this side. So some other things to consider. Again, I want his elbow. His elbow will have to be propped up on my shoulder here. I can't have the forearm attached, right? So I want it to be like this. I want to take him into a little bit of flexion. So the way Jaden's, he's kind of like, see, he's like leaning away from me, which is actually not as common of a reaction, but that's okay. It's causing his arm to be a bit more like this than above his head. I want the arm above the head. If you look here, look at my range of motion. I'll turn side on so you can see it. Look how far, when my arm's just like 90 degrees from my body, I have quite a bit, and I don't even have flexible shoulders, but like I can move quite far back here. If you take that arm up and I move back, see how it gets blocked here? I can't go further back here. So we lose ability to go this direction compared to when when our arm's closer to being by our side. Too much up here and they'll be able to turn there their arm out and suck their arm free. Okay, so it's really like a hyperflexion movement where we're taking the shoulder into too much flexion, but not right next to the head. So if we look here, he's like almost like 90 degrees. This is not what I want, but I just want to show you. When I put pressure here, he's like, I can almost put his shoulders pretty much touched my my chest here, and Jaden's got a bad shoulder as well, so that's a good sign that it's not right. I'll often, to bring this up, I kind of like if I cut this in a little bit, see how that brings him into a bit more abduction, which just means the elbow's moving away from the side here, okay? So I want to like, with my grip, with my right arm, if it is down here, I'll cut it across a bit first, right? I probably want my left hand right on the shoulder line if possible. Now that I'm here, if I pull down, got the tap. Okay, still pretty good actually. All right, so we want to get it like here. At this point, yeah, there's a good stretch on the shoulder. Okay, so if I've got the head together, I've kept that tight, I move to here, I lock that up, I pull down, I can get the finish. So in addition to this, obviously we need to have our hips back. All right, I want to stretch him out a little bit, right, so I can get that angle even better. And by creating some space, I've got more space to row his shoulder into now, right? So it should be more easy to pull that down. And that gets a much stronger tap when I have this gap here, as opposed to sitting in close, where you're going to find this a lot more difficult. So in summary, we bring our opponent forward, we manage to isolate either the head and arm or just the shoulder. I'll do the head and arm for the added techniques involved, okay? I start to stretch out to the side, sit up, step on the thighs here, okay? Once I'm up, I've got this tight, I'm going to keep my left arm tight, follow through with my other hand, make sure I'm right on the shoulder line, make sure his elbow's propped on my shoulder and not past that. I've made space, and I'm going to row my elbows towards my hips and get the finish. So the most common reaction here is that Jaden tries to run me to my left, right? He drives into me, out of the way, yeah. And he starts like walking to this side, right, to try to like, potentially, if he gets here, he can pass, okay. It's kind of like the opposite, you remember, like I was constantly trying to keep him out here, he's driving back, trying to like take me this way. So the option against that is to try to use a butterfly sweep them over, okay, where we can continue to attack submissions or at least get the sweep, okay. So, basically what I want to do is make it so he can't post with this hand, can't post with this leg. They both get stretched out. The leg goes too far this way, the hand goes too high. Okay. So as Jaden starts to drive back into me, I'm going to stretch this leg out and take the hand away. See this position here? I've got my butterfly hook and I'll just be tilting it over the top. Now, there's a bit more to it than that. So it's really important that I don't fall on my left side, okay? So when I'm doing this, I don't want to go like I start walking to my left. Okay. I don't want to be here. Okay, I can't sweep him well. Here, I'll just keep your base. All right, and start pulling your arm free. I'm just losing the position, right? See, I've fallen on my left side. I will have to go to my left eventually, but not too early. There's a time when I want to go to my left. Another common mistake with this is I see people like, you know, there's, when you watch it, and it's not wrong, you see a lot of people teach it like, I'm trying to like lift him up with his chin, with my elbow and my forearm, which you can add a little bit of that, but it's really common if you try to do that, that you fall on your left. All right, and now keep your base, and free your arm. Okay, hard to sweep. Okay. So actually, I want to be very close to the neck, and I will have some pressure on that, but I think of it more of a frame than something I'm trying to lift with, right? I just keep it tight, and it actually allows me more, kind of like what I was doing before, to cut into the shoulder. If I do this, like chop into the shoulder a bit, it helps me open the hand down, right? So my aim is to be able to take the arm above his head, take his arm this way, so start driving into me, Jed. I want to make it so he can't post here, and go more like this, right? Does that make sense? Shrugging my shoulder, curling more like that. So he shouldn't be able to put his hand on the mat here. Okay? If at the same time I can kick his leg out and step on the outside of his foot, then neither side of his body can touch the mat, right? And it should be quite easy. See, I'm still like tight against the neck, but I've chopped in to the arm here. Okay, does that make sense? So I've still got like, I'm not levering him over with this, it's just like blocking him here as my butterfly sweep will take him over. It is possible to do this with the head and the arm as well, okay? Not as strong, but it's probably more when you've got the head and the arm, they've got a less necessity to drive into you. When I get just the arm, like he's really got to drive into me or else he's getting submitted, okay? So look here, I don't fall to my side, I'm trying to stretch out and step on the leg whilst I'm flat, here like this, okay? So as much as I can, I'm still trying to face the roof as we go here, okay? Again, so try and run me to the other side. Right, I'm trying to stop that. And now I allow it to occur to finish the sweep. Once I decide that I'm going to my side, I actually want to extend my back, which will take his arm even further. So walk into me again. Right. So I'm staying as vertical as possible while I kick that leg. And then I actually I don't go this way. I kind of extend my upper back away to keep that arm even further from touching the mat. So test this with your partner, but Jaden, try and touch the mat, right? So if you can touch the mat here, you're doing it wrong, okay? Try and touch the mat. There should be no way they touch the mat. A lot of time, as they're trying to drive to the side, they'll step forward on this other leg too, especially if you haven't managed to, if we go back, this is where this would have been awesome, right? You can't really step up, but he got there. So you're gonna kind of fall to your back a little bit, use your, see how it's hard, because I'm kind of jammed up, hard to step on his hip. As I extend with my knee on his leg, I'll kind of fall back. And this will create room to step on that, right? So I'm flat on my back now, and I've gone to this. And I'm at this point where it's up to Jaden. Does he keep driving across where he gives me the sweep? Or does he sit back and give me a chance to come back up again for the shoulder crunch? One last detail. Often, when I step here, I'll often actually hook the back of the knee as well as we sweep. So keep your base, drive into me, but keep your base the best you can. Let's say I get here. Sometimes as I sweep, I'll hook like this with my foot, just try and get back up. See how stepping on his foot makes it hard to get back up. Maybe that wasn't the exact scenario where it comes up, but a lot of the time, Jaden walks to the side, I'll capture here, right, and just like that, right? He's trying to get up, but that bottom leg can't retract. Okay. sometimes you're gonna feel like you're losing the arm, right? So like I'm losing the shoulder. There's no longer gonna be a shoulder crunch. So like just move your arm back a bit. Yeah, and there's no longer gonna be the sweep either, right? I don't have the leverage here. Probably here is even too bad. Okay, but like you can sometimes feel it, and you want to start to turn towards like a cutting armbar. Okay, so the issue sliding down is, of course, he's going to free that elbow. Right? If he slips that, I've lost everything. Okay, so try, like he's trying to roll this way. Make sure your grip like fights that. So if I can lead with my right hand going a little deep, and then I pull my elbow tight, this is going to, you know, as he tries to pull back, at least that's like giving me some time. Sometimes you might not even feel that, but even if you just bring your wrist a little this way so you can roll it back, this is going to be okay too, right? And obviously I'm going to basically change my mechanics now to my shoulder holding his wrist. Instead of before, my shoulder was holding his elbow, now my shoulder is holding his wrist, and my arms are working at the elbow. And we want some sort of block on their upper body if possible. I mean, sometimes you can just like be quick, right? You get here and you're fast enough, they tap before you roll, okay? But it's really good if you manage to like put your knee next to the head, because this stops him alleviating pressure. Okay, something like this, right? So if I manage to get this, and then I can change down towards the elbow, he can't, I'll show it in a moment, but now that I bring my second hand over and I cut into that space, puts pressure on the elbow. Now, if I take that leg away, he can move his head down, potentially try to roll out, which we can follow as well, but hopefully that doesn't happen. So ideally for a cutting armbar, I'll step on the hip with my left foot, just like I'm just doing here, just like we did in pretty much all our finishes. I feel like it's starting to slip. I can put my knee next to the head. You can't alleviate that pressure now. And I cut to here. If I feel like he wants to, like, again, if he drives me flat, this will be a problem. So you might even swing your leg over to finish. Again, if we look from this side, if Jaden puts me onto my left side, it's hard to finish this. Okay, I don't want to end up on this side. So if you felt that was happening, you might want to like use your legs or step over just to force them back on this side. Right. Of course, you can roll through to an arm like here. If I miss, I can also try to roll through for the arm. Another time you'll go for the cutting armbar is, it's kind of like a last-ditch effort. You go for the grip, he's already pulling away, I'm losing the arm, right? So I can see he's turning out, and I haven't even sat up yet, so I might as well try to just like turn him. If I can, like use my head against the wrist and use this to turn some pressure this way, right? And if you can do that in conjunction with like stepping, you might get enough to finish. Step on the hip, use your knee here, okay? You might get enough to just like force them to turn, and you know, unfortunately with this one you do have to you can't do it that slowly, right? Obviously don't injure your training partners, but you're gonna have to get a reaction out of them and follow them pretty quick. But I can go like here, and then hopefully it works, I get the tap, and if Jaden rolls, I might get a sweep as well. So a lot of the time, especially like if I go for the cutting arm bar here, and I know that I can't get my leg here to connect to the head, there's a pretty good chance he rolls out, okay? Usually, like this is once I'm seated, like I'm seated up here. I actually don't try to follow the roll this time. I just let him roll into an arm bar, okay? I'm gonna take my leg back, I'll talk about that in a sec, but you roll out of this cutting arm bar, let him roll, right? And I come through. Keeping the foot on the hip gives me space, and I just makes a distance, and I just retract this leg so I can pull it out. I don't want it to roll onto my leg, right? So I just roll. Yeah, I don't want it to see how my leg's stuck here? This is what I don't want, okay? So I just take my leg back like this. As he rolls, I swing my leg over, okay? And I can fall back into an arm bar. Obviously, you're just gonna have to be good at finishing arm bars. This is a really good spot to finish from. You just need to learn the different configurations and where to direct the hand to finish. So as we begin to step on the hips, it's pretty common for our opponent to try and keep their head to their arm and keep their weight back. Usually to do that, they post on here, so just they're trying to almost suck themselves backwards and free of the grip, right? So it's actually a pretty good triangle entry, right? I'm stepped on the hip, his hands posted, so I just take my leg back, shoot through, and I get the triangle. Again, hands on the mat, right? I'm trying to set up the shoulder crunch. I see that it's actually just going to be easier to take my leg back, shoot my hips in. And because you've got the head and arm together, you actually get a very deep grip for the triangle. Just take note, if it's this far back, see how I'm starting to lose, I can't shoot my hips that far, right? I shoot for the triangle when it's when his upper body's still forward, he's posting to try to move back, my hips can get in nice and good. When he's that far back, and I know my hips won't go, I feel like I'll actually probably miss if I go for a triangle. I usually will switch to a Choi bar here. We'll talk about the Choi bar in a moment, and we have a course on the Choi bar, so obviously more detail there, but when he's that far back, I'll tend to go to the side, thread this leg over for an up. All right, so now we'll look at when your opponent steps up, right? They stand up, and this can be during the entry or once you even get to here. And it's probably like if I can stop it by stepping on the thigh, right? It tries to stand up. At least it's not going to be good. This doesn't bother me, right? But if I had the butterfly hook and he stepped, okay, this is a problem. It kind of limits my ability to attack, but we can go into a leg entanglement, right? So just shoot your hips under, collect at the calf first. I don't want to go at the knee because you can potentially step off this, right? Yeah, I'll sprawl back a bit, yeah. All right, go back. If I go here, it's hard to sprawl. Okay, I've got my right shin, push with this, pull with this, and I come over the top into single leg X. So you don't really even need to grab the leg. You could, but you pretty much don't need to use your hands to establish the position. Right? Just like drag it out with your thigh, drag the foot to your armpit. Again, this can happen from here too. I'm trying to stretch out, Jaden steps up. Right, I go here. At a certain point, I actually want distance. I don't want him attached, so I'm going to start thinking about framing. Make sure you end up with your knee as a frame here. Like I don't want to be with him in this space. Right, I'm going to have to make space to get my knee blocking, so I'm isolating the leg.